Let's look at the evolution of our share in the last quarter. Yes, the share price performed extraordinarily well in the third quarter of 2023. We have reached a new high, about above 68 RON. The closing price at the end of September of 65.8 RON. In the meanwhile, the share price exceeded 70 RON per share, so it's almost 100% year-to-date return. We have seen also a decent increase in the average trading volume. So we are roughly at 50,000 euros trading volume for the BBB share. And also another 25% increase in the number of shareholders. So now we are close to 5,100 shareholders. In terms of the shareholding structure, at the end of September, we have noticed in the third quarter a slight decrease in the stake of the Romanian institutional investor, roughly 1.5%, and this was fairly equally allocated towards foreign institutions and private investors. Moving towards the Q3 financials, so the brief highlights slide. So of course we see the impact of the hybrid IPO, which has taken us to outstanding performance in the third quarter. We see triple-digit increases or four-digit increases on our operating profit level. So operating revenues at the standalone level, 4 times higher. Net profit 10 times higher than the standalone level. So everything is very self-explanatory. And yes, in terms of major impact, on one hand, we had the one-off results from the public offer of hydroelectrica, total size of 12.5 million RON. But also we have seen the equity turnover, which is our main profit or revenue and profit driver, increasing 2.7 times compared to the third quarter of 2022. Also, we have seen very strong effect on the post-trading level. The second quarter revenue is also shooting up 70% compared to the third quarter of 2022. Here is on the side of the trading volume. So on the top left corner, we see the total value including the IPO size. And the bottom left, this excludes the offer size, so it's very visible that actually as the trading volume was significantly above what we have seen in the previous quarters. And some key updates. So the trading volume Q3 are very promising from an MSCI perspective. Looking also a bit further ahead, so we also included here the October volume. We have seen an October total volume of 1.36 billion RON. And on one hand, this is 27% lower than the average in the third quarter. But it's going back maybe to the previous slide. So here again, looking at the bottom left, 1.36 billion euros traded in October is just like 20-25% lower than what compared to what we have seen in the full quarters prior to hydroelectrica. So the volumes still remain at very positive levels, and again very hopeful for us in terms of fulfilling the criteria for MSCI. Also, the momentum is very positive in our market. We saw, especially in September, the local indices decoupling from some extent the global markets. We one of the probably very few markets reaching historic heights in September, the indices levels. Also on the positive side regarding market evolution and also maybe prospects for the coming months or maybe quarters. We saw significant dividend inflows for our investors. So for the proprietary, of course, the amount coming from the sale of hydroelectrica, as well as extraordinary dividends from petrol, special dividends from petrol, regular dividends from Banca Transilvania, and I think today also BRD came up with the dividend proposal. So the dividends keep flowing, which should keep the interest at good levels for our issuers in the future as well. Primary markets, which we as we discussed in the past, have been it's obviously our main growth driver, and also we need to bring more and more supply considering the size of our local investor base, both institutional pension funds as well as the growing retail base. So the primary market we see, let's say, mixed signals. On one hand, in past months or maybe 2-3 months, our regular, let's say, event where we meet entrepreneurs in local companies, we see rising interest and rising appetite from local businesses towards capital markets financing. And there are promises that in 2024 would be quite good in terms of new companies coming to the market. We have to be said here that yes, the average size is fairly low, so most companies we deal from these days are more like higher market material, but obviously the snowball effect and what we've seen also in 2021. So there are hopes that next year could be quite positive. On the other hand, what we see from the broker side and investor side, there is still some let's call it risk awareness driven by the macro environment, by the interest rates environment. So for the moment, the investors seem fairly selective. The valuations seem to be, there seems to be an internal valuation gap between the investor demands and the entrepreneur expectations. So hopefully this gap will close down in the coming months in order for us to see this activity in primary markets in Q1, Q2, and probably hopefully throughout 2024. On the CCP side, the timeline for the authorization and operationalization of the CCP and the lithium markets is first half 2024. If you haven't spoken already, Adrian wants to give you more details later on after we finish the presentation about the CCP. And yeah, these are I think the most significant updates at this stage. And yes, I will pass to Christina, the financial controller, to give you more details about the numbers.
Thank you, Dennis. So regarding the BVB financial results in the first 9 months of 2023, there is a significant improvement from the first half of the year following a strong Q3. Operating revenues reached a value of almost 37 million RON, 50% higher compared with the previous period. It had impact from hydroelectric IPO with revenues of 12.5 million RON, as well as from regular transactions with hydroelectric shares of about 3.2 million in Q3. There is a significant increase in volumes traded in the third quarter of 2023. Operating expenses are of 18.6 million, 90% increase. There is a base effect from inflation as well as higher fixed assets and right-of-use assets depreciation increases. And administrative expenses together with additional costs recorded in Q3 related to hydroelectric listing. Operating profit at an exceptional level of 18.24 million, direct impact from the trading activity, profit of 18.3 million with a net margin of 50%. Looking at the third quarter performance compared with the previous one, operating revenues increased 4 times from hydroelectric listing and the higher trading activity, while operating expenses increased by 8% due to additional expenses recorded following the successful listing of hydroelectric, together with marketing and events expenses aimed to promote the capital market and increase the number of investors. Significant increase in net profit by 12.4 million versus Q2 2023. Moving on at the consolidated level, the financial results are directly influenced by the trading segment financial performance. Significant level of operating revenues recorded in the first 9 months of 2023. Of almost 60 million RON, around 12 million euro, influenced by the listing and together with the impact from trading and post-trading segments increase. Consolidated operating expenses reached a value of 40.35 million RON, up to 20%, and they are generated by the new cost recorded by CCP, and amplified by the inflation impact on our group business segment operating expenses, together with additional costs related to the hydroelectric successful listing. Consolidated operating profit at a record level of 19.5 million, together with positive evolution of financial result, which increases 59% up to the value of 5.3 million, leads to a net profit of 21.5 million at the group level, around 4.3 million euro. Looking in detail at consolidated revenues on business segments, the trading segment has increased its share in consolidated operating revenues and represents 61%, and it's the main driver in the evolution of revenues at consolidated level. And post trading segment increased by 33% up to 15 million compared with previous period, and it is due to hydroelectric shares transaction settlement, while registry segment increased 15% up to 80 million. Looking in detail on operating expenses, operating expenses of PVB individual increased by 19%, mainly due to personal cost amid the annual indexation and share options and performance bonuses accruals, which are in line with the current year result, as well as higher other operating expenses by 28%, inflation-based effect, but amplified by higher marketing and events expenses, together with the administrative and depreciation expenses. Also, in Q3, there were additional costs regarding the successful listing of Hydroelectrica, such as personal cost, taxes, and marketing and events expenses. At consolidated level, operating expenses increased by 20%, or 6.8 million. And they are generated by the new expenses recorded by CCP related expenses for the authorization and implementation, but also by higher personal expenses and other operating expenses. Regarding financial position, at the end of September 2023, PVB total assets increased by 18%, or 21 million RON, out of which 12.3 million increase is due to increase in higher non-current assets, mainly due to the recognition of the right of use asset related to the lease agreement signed for the new headquarters. With impact of 9.40 million, around 1.8 million euro, according to the requirements of IFRS 16, with impact also on leasing liability. And the increase in total assets was sustained also by current assets increase, due to higher cash and bank deposits resulted from the Q3 exceptional revenues.
At the group level, we are in the total assets an increase of 90%. The increase was generated by the development recorded in the trading segment, as well as due to the increase in the bank deposits and restricted assets at the group level. Here we have the impact of the amounts that are paid by the central depository in the name of the listing companies, the shareholders of the listed companies. And here, of course, it was also the dividends of the large companies listed on the main market. The total liabilities of more than 65 million RON, plus 50% compared to the beginning of the year, were influenced by also by the liabilities recorded in the trading segment, as well as in the assets part, the impact of the dividends and coupons distributed on behalf of the customers from the equity of the group had an increase of 10% compared to the December 2022, influenced by the current year result and some other smaller amounts recorded as the stock option plan benefits granted. And also which is important to mention, the increase in the minority interest of the group. Here we are speaking about the increase of the CCP share capital by almost 4 million RON, performed by new shareholders, minority shareholders in the Central Counterparty. As an overview of the BVB share and what influenced also the share during this year, as you know, the BVB paid in June 2023 the dividends from the 2022 results. Here we had an amount of over 10 million RON. The share, following the evolution of the market also and the results of the group, reached a new all-time high of over 65 lei. We saw also higher figures in the meantime, and as we said, it was a positive trend in October also. And yes, we have here the 5-year evolution of the BVB share, as we see with an increase during these 5 years. So these are the main figures of from our report.
Maybe about the Central Counterparty project. So you have put in the presentation, we are keeping this timeline to get authorization to operationalize the Central Counterparty in the first part of this year, in the first 6 months. The college has been called, so it's constituted, the college, my college for the CCP is constituted. This is a public information, has been already called, which is a very good development 3 weeks ago. So they are starting to meet officially on our case. And hopefully we'll have till the end of the year our file declared to be declared complete, and afterwards to receive the authorization, the operationalization to start to operate the company. In the parallel, we are yes in the good shape with the documentation to authorize the markets as well. We have constructed the codes for the both markets, because you will launch 2 new market derivatives for financial derivatives, let's say for single stock futures and index futures, and another market which is energy derivatives. And you have already put the documentation informally with the FSA, and as soon as because the only missing part on this documentation is the contract, because whenever you want to authorize the market, on the derivative market, you have to present to the authorities a contract with an authorized CCP. So we have to wait the authorization of the CCP to sign this contract with them and to complete the file for the market to do. So I'm quite optimistic that we'll have a good co-synchronization. So when the CCP will be ready to function to have the markets, the two markets already authorized. The tests are going very well. We are receiving updates already from Romanian clearing. We are testing. We have a different audit. So we have completed as you probably know, in January we have put the initial file. We have received the feedback in March. By the end of August, we have complete that file with all the requests received. And now we still are receiving some new documents, new requests from FSA, and we are working on them. As I said, the most important part was the testing process, the audits of the testing process. We have done them, and we have already an audit report from Price. From Price, not the report, and the KPMG, and so the report plus CP, the KPMG, so Price. Nice. Yeah, we have already the report, and we have put it on the report on the testing system, and we have put it on the file. We have delivered it, so everything is delivered already to the FSA. And yes, as I said, hopefully we'll have the file declared in the next few months to have our file declared complete by the authorities.
Regarding the question about the dividend payout, our dividend policy was not changed. So in case we decide to change it, of course, that will announce you, but will be announced in time, it will be public. So we don't have any other information. We are about the change of the dividend policy. So yes, we intend to keep the 95% distribution of the dividends after keeping the legal reserve as requested by the law.
Thank you. Are there any questions from your side? Yes. So do you think that first half 2024 is a good estimate for the CCP to have it rolling?
The fourth part of
2024 first half.
To have your own authorized. It's not authorized, it's authorized, it's a new CCP, and yes, the fourth part of 2024, it's a good estimation for authorization and yes, operationalization. This is also according with some discussion. The FSA, so they're seeing some informal discussion, they're thinking informally that this is the timeline.
Thank you as well.
Regarding our results,
It's the consolidated entity. No, if you just about it, or should I? Yeah, so basically, there is also one-page explanation in our full report. Basically, this is the project we are undertaking together with almost all the exchanges, starting part of FSA, the Federation of European Stock Exchanges, and it's related to the change in the European regulation concerning the distribution of market data. So basically, the aim is to, let's say, to replicate to some extent the American model and the creation of let's say, a central institution that aggregates the market data for the exchanges and actually distributes that data to investors, brokers, and third parties. So, decision made among the exchanges to create our own entity that to participate in the auctions or to become, let's say, the provider of the aggregated market data at the European level. So BVB joined the project. The timeline is fairly long for that one. So if I'm not mistaken, probably the the project to be finalized in the sense of the option to be finalized, and the winner of this, the company will operate the European consolidated state should be available, should be finalized somewhere in 2027, 2028. And regarding short selling, short selling is possible in the Romanian market. The main issue with the short selling is the lack of lending tools. So basically, we need to have working pools of securities to be aggregated ideally by banks or by entities involved in this kind of operations, which hasn't been the case until now. So we didn't have a partner to build this lending pools to allow investors to easily borrow shares to be able to short them. The central counterparty can play a very important role in this respect, and can help in order to provide the tool to allow for creation of lending pools and the increase in short selling activity in the market. And here it's maybe short selling, yes, it's very important, but maybe it's the main short-term driver from this development is the facilitation of market making activities, because currently market makers require inventories of securities in order to be able to cover their potential short position in one day they sell more than they buy in the market. So currently they are forced to keep inventories, which is not effective at all from capital perspective. So the rolling of a lending pool should facilitate and should maybe make it cheaper, more efficient, to maybe tighten the spread for market makers. Also in the view of the launch of the derivative market, where market making has to be efficient and cheap. So in a nutshell, yes, we have projects. Currently there is no broker or bank in the market to take over the lending pool operation, and it's something that will be strongly considered the CCP level after the authorization of the institution. Yes, so we mentioned already primary markets. We do see interest. Yes, 15 million euro is not necessarily a very big threshold. I mean, yes, we would like to have companies with EBITDA bigger than 100 million euro. Of course, what is, let's say, positive in Romania compared to other Eastern European markets, that still there is let's say a pipeline of large or maybe very large targets for IPOs. So of course we are aware, we are in contact with them. We have our lines open of communication. Hopefully there will be good news in 2024 regarding also some potential project size IPOs. On the other hand, maybe here we shouldn't maybe forget that still the primary market in the last couple of years has been the most active historically in Romania, and yes, much stronger compared to many European markets. In this respect, Hydrolet still is the largest IPO this year in Europe, which shows a bit that the environment maybe is not the best, for the primary market for issuers and securities. Mainly because of the interest rates environment, which is a critical issue for investors.
Yes, on the primary market side, yes, one of our priorities in the next period is to regulate the REITs, real estate investment trust, and hopefully we'll have them regulated on the fiscal code, and yes, we'll have another asset class, a very important asset class for Romania, listed on the Bucharest Stock Exchange. But this is it's a priority for us, and But yes, the next year will be an election year. Maybe if we have some luck, we can have them regulated in the next year.
Regarding the results, as you mentioned, so the third quarter was influenced by the revenues from the one-off revenues from the hydroelectric listing, and also the expenses were influenced by this very important listing. So for the next quarter, we don't expect anymore this impact on the revenues. So the 12 million run from the IPO commission that was recorded, and also some one-off expenses recorded in the Q3 quarter, as for promotion and also into the personnel expense.
So regarding the question from Miguel, the IPO pipeline, so we already briefly touched it in the presentation, just maybe to rephrase a bit. So what we have seen in the past weeks, we see quite dynamic interest and questions and communication from issuers, from prospective sellers of securities in the IPOs. Here we see also a disconnect between, let's say, the expectations, the valuation they are maybe used to, what they see, maybe what they saw for the past years, and what maybe the investors are expecting in the current environment. Maybe an example I can give, like an IT company which just told me the other day there was an event in Bucharest, and they are very, very close to finalize the transaction, but they're still hesitating with the pricing that has been put on the table for them. So they are considering actually to wait a few more quarters perhaps to proceed with the deal. And I think this is maybe a generalized situation that yes, there is a gap in between offer valuations the investors are happy with and what the sellers are expecting. On the other hand, this is aligned pretty much with the global markets. We see maybe the interest rates expectations are calming down. So we have seen a big global major bond deals falling the last couple of days. We see maybe some bounce back in valuations for maybe for IT shares, a good indicator of what the market is expecting in terms of interest rates and near-term impact on capital markets. Equally for inflation expectations, I think there are also signals that are positive. So this gives us hope that yes, maybe first half of 2024 might bring companies. The companies are there. We see certainly good appetite to raise capital, and the stock exchange now is taken very seriously, and it's really considered a very, very good alternative. It's the valuation of maybe right now is the main issue. And also here is because maybe this might be conflicting with what we see in terms of our indices trading at historic highs. It's also based on the fact that yes, we have seen huge dividends this year. The current let's say the current benchmark for companies in that index is quite specific, driven by energy companies and so on, which is not fitting with, let's say, the pipeline of companies that we speak to. A lot of them are mostly from technology services, smaller companies, and they are not necessarily the most sought after businesses, at least in this short-term period, or in second half of this year, or maybe throughout this year. The deal market. The deal market exists in various forms in many other exchanges. What the main difference is, if you look at let's say you develop European exchange or US exchanges, most of the time this market is not visible. It's purely an OTC market. So whenever, let's say, in stock there is a match between, let's say, a large size buyer and a large size seller, that trade gets done and most of the time without even being printed on the exchange. So we still have the deal market, which is a positive. And I think in the view of the regulation and let's say the fragmentation of trading venues and generally the many possibilities investors have to trade their shares, especially for capital market, it's very hard for us to restrict it, closing the deal market actually might mean that those shares don't even come to the regular market, they just get traded on alternative platform, on, I don't know, Turquoise, something, So in the big picture, I think the situation is good and given the market, I don't see it disappearing, and worst case, the market actually traded outside the physical exchanges.
Okay.
Are there any more questions?
Anyway, about this deal market here, we discuss, it's a discussion, ongoing discussion. We have received this idea already from some participants, and yes, it's an ongoing discussion, but it's not a decision taken. So in conclusion, we are very optimistic about the CCP project, about the primary market. Yes, I think in my view, it's very important that the market conditions normalize, the interest will go a little bit more down, and the inflation, and because it's very difficult on this context to issue bonds or equity. The appetite is not there like in 2021. So this is a very important premise. Maybe yes, to ease a little bit the conditions on the capital on the interest rates. Yeah. We don't expect to have the same condition in 2021, but still to have a much more normalized situation. And in that moment, yes, I'm very optimistic that the pipeline on the primary market will reactivate to be similar or even to be more in terms of number of listings than we have experienced in 2021. On the other side, we have a lot of discussions on municipal bonds as well, on corporate bonds. Yes, we saw the energy market might be a very good. The energy sector might be a very good selling part in the next year. Both equities and bonds, they have a lot of capex to be financed, and this could be another create another important pipeline for us for the market. And yeah, some other big companies, many companies you are discussing with them, not listed companies, and they are considering listing, and but again, the conditions should be a little bit much more normal than currently, and yes, probably you'll see them in the market. And again, this is a project I really think might bring new investors, new issuers. Real estate sector in Romania is very important. It's developing very fast, and should be represented in a much more sustainable way to the market. And yes, hopefully we'll have them regulated sooner than later.
Perfect, thank you. So yes, if there are no further questions, we will stop here this conference for this presentation. And yes, thank you for your support, and we'll see you in 3 months' time, probably in a new setup for us here in the new office. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yes. Yeah.